You guys hearing that? That, my friends, is the sound of nature. All right, folks, creating great looking videos on an iPhone can be challenging, but with the right preparation, techniques, and mindset, you can shoot cinematic videos anywhere. Now, I've never been here before, but I like being around nature, so that's why I chose to make this video in a forest. But it doesn't really matter where you are, because if you can't shoot great videos in everyday locations, how will you do it when you're on a once-in-a-lifetime trip? So in this video, guys, I'll be shooting a sort of nature B-roll sequence with my iPhone and share useful tips to help make your iPhone videos stand out. This way you have some ideas on how to shoot your B-rolls and apply those shooting techniques no matter where you are. And in the end, I'll be showing you the final edit, including the behind the scenes, so that you can see how I applied the techniques in action. Also, this video is brought to you by Motion Array, an all-in-one platform for creators that I use to download creative assets and elevate my videos. More to them later. So with that said, guys, let's get started. Okay, so the first tip I have is to think about the story you want to tell. This will really help you guide your shots and give purpose to your videos. And you can keep it simple. In this example, the story is about me exploring nature, like in most of my videos, and finding beauty in unexpected places. And with this rough idea, it will be easier to capture shots that convey that message. Now, another important tip that I don't see many people talk about is staying calm. Once you get on location, you don't want to take out your phone and start shooting everything. You want to familiarize yourself with the location. Take a walk, soak in the view, stay relaxed. Because if you're relaxed, you're more likely to stay focused. And if you're focused, you'll have an easier approach of getting the shots. And this also prevents you of, filming everything around you, which then makes it really hard in the edit to piece together. So yeah, stay relaxed. It's not some kind of test, and just have fun with the process. All right, let's get serious and talk about camera settings. So I'm going to keep it simple and use the default camera app. I think it's great for run and gun shooting. Now I'll be shooting in the standard video mode in 4K 60 frames per second. And 4K provides the highest quality and also allows me to reframe my shot without losing much quality, especially when filming yourself. It can be tricky to frame your shot sometimes, and 60 frames per second allows me to slow down my footage. And this helps smoothen out the shaky handheld shots. And also, if you're unsure if you want the shot to be in slow motion or not, then just choose 60 frames per second. This way you always have the option to slow the clip down. What you also want is to enable the grids. So head over to settings, camera, and then in the composition section, enable grid. And you also want to enable level, because when we head back, you'll see that we now have the rule of thirds and also the leveler. So when I slightly rotate the camera, if it's uneven, it's white. And if it turns yellow, you'll know that your shot is leveled. Now heading back to the camera settings, select record video. You want to be sure to enable stabilization. Of course, this will help smoothen out any shaky shots. And very important is to have your white balance lock on. This way, when you start recording, you won't have any color shifts in your video, because this will be very hard to fix and ruin your shot. Now, the last thing I want to mention before you start recording is to lock your focus and exposure. Simply tap on where you want to set the focus and exposure until AE/AF lock appears. And this means auto exposure and autofocus is locked. And when I start moving the camera back and forth, no changes will happen. And if I unlock it, you'll notice that the focus starts to shift. And also by tilting up and down, you won't have those extreme exposure changes. Now, I do find that the default camera app does a great job of smoothly changing the exposure. So sometimes you can get away with it, but in most cases, whenever you can, try to lock the focus and exposure. So as for the camera setup, I'll be using my trusty tripod from SmallRig. By the way, I'm gonna link all products in the video description below if you're interested. And I'm also gonna use this clamp, which allows me to secure my iPhone on this tripod. Now, I think everybody should at least have a tripod because this allows you to frame yourself more easily and also, very importantly, film yourself if you don't have anybody to help you. Now we're doing a good mixture of static shots as well as handheld shots to create a dynamic video. So with that said, let's get into the shooting process. So my next tip is to think about the opening shot. And usually in an opening shot, you want to establish the scene and let the viewers know where it takes place. And I've decided to shoot a time lapse. And since it's cloudy today and we have lots of clouds moving, this would look really great in a time lapse, which indicates the passage of time, and also have trees in the shot to indicate that we are in a forest. The opening shot is also very important because that's where you want to hook your viewers' attention. And I think by including a time lapse, it really makes the shot look very interesting. Now, additionally, you also want to think about your title. This means you want to frame your shot so that the background doesn't obstruct the view of the title. So I've been running the time lapse for around 15 to 20 minutes, and let's check out the results. Tip number 6 is finding a good title. And this is where our sponsor Motionary comes in. What's great about their platform is that they provide a wide range of assets, tools, and resources for creators like myself to help enhance my videos and save time. Whether it's stock footage, transitions, music, or titles, Motionary has you covered. So I'm going to look for a title that fits my video and gives it a professional touch. So what I do is I head over to Motionary's website and select Final Cut Pro, since that's my main editing software. From here, I could use the category section, but I prefer to use the search bar. I type in cinematic titles, and as you can see, I get a vast selection of different titles. I found the trendy cinematic titles pack to be good. I simply click on it, watch the preview, and download it. Then it's as easy as dragging and dropping it onto your timeline, naming it, and there you go. You don't have to start from zero to make a cool animated title. By the way, if you're wondering where I got the music from, well, you guessed it right, it's from Motionary. You can choose music, and under the filters option, there are various genres available. I went for the film score genre and quickly found the song Spring Bloom by VP Studios, which fit the vibe I was going for. They also offer sound effects like forest ambient sounds, perfect for adding realism to your video. Let me just play back the video with just the sound effects. Motionary is a great platform for video creators wanting to level up their content. And the best part, you can download as many assets without any copyright concerns. So I highly recommend giving it a try to explore Motionary's extensive collection of creative assets. These resources will make your work easier and faster, helping you make better videos. Plus, using the link in the video description below will get you $50 off the annual plan. With that said, thank you Motionary for sponsoring this video. Let's get on with our next tip. So my next tip is to guide the viewer's eyes. So now that we have our opening shot and our title is placed in the center, we want to make it easy for the viewer in the next shot have the subject or object be centered in the frame. And by doing this, it makes it comfortable for the viewer, allowing them to feel more immersed in the video. So I've noticed this small house on the other side. For that, I'm going to use the 5X and I'm going to shoot in 4K 60 frames per second. And we have some nice foreground as well. And I'm going to do a slight movement from left to right while keeping the house in the center. So remember to first lock the focus and exposure, and then we're going to create our shot. 3, 2, 1, and action. And by the way, if you're wondering what this is a MagSafe power bank. It's always good to have one because shooting videos on your iPhone can drain a lot of battery. My next tip is to include yourself in the video. And the reason for that is to make your story a bit more interesting by having a main character in it. Since you're filming alone, it would be you. This way people are more able to relate with your story, and that's why a tripod is so important. You can just set it up on location so that you can film yourself, and you also don't need any acting skills. In this story, I'm just simply filming myself walking around. You can keep it really simple and just be yourself. Now, my next tip, when it comes to filming yourself, you also want to consider the screen direction and keeping that consistent. This means that the direction of movement of your subject, in this case it would be me, should be consistent from one shot to another. For example, if I'm walking from left to right in one shot, I should continue walking in the same direction in the following shot. Otherwise, it will feel confusing and disorienting to the viewer. And the next tip I have is to get creative with your shots. Number one, you want to avoid filming everything from eye level. While a few shots are okay, you want to step it up by changing the angle. Think about what could look interesting for your viewers. And since you have a tripod, you have a lot of possibilities to set up your shots creatively. For example, you can get a low shot of yourself walking across a bridge, or you can even place your camera behind a wooden stairs to create some foreground and sort of create a frame within a frame shot. What also creates interest in your shot is adding depth. What I like to do is add a foreground, and by having me walking across the frame, we have some foreground, midground, and background creating a depth. Now, because it's a bit more difficult to achieve a shallow depth of field with the iPhone, there's a shooting mode called cinematic mode, which creates those fake blurry background. And if you do it right, it actually looks quite convincing. And for that shot, I chose cinematic mode just to add additional depth to it. So my next tip is to think about the ending of your video. So we have an opening shot, and you also want to have an ending shot. And for that, I'm actually going to create a match cut transition. This way we can sort of teleport to this scene over here, and then I'm going to take a second shot, a more wider shot of me walking towards the end and then gazing at the view. And that to me feels like a good ending. So I already created a shot of me filming myself walking, and I want to do the exact same thing just from a different location. And I'm gonna walk and then sort of slowly tilt up the camera to show the audience the amazing view. And then we're gonna cut to a shot of me walking till the end and then gazing at the view. So I'm actually gonna start by setting the focus over here. And I'm gonna head back, and then I'm gonna frame it the way I framed it in the first shot. Go. Now, as a bonus tip, if you have the time, try to capture some extra B-roll footage. So usually I would capture a scene from different angles to help tell the story in the most effective way. This will give you more options in the edit, and that's why I'm going to capture a third shot of me, a wide shot, which I think would also work great as an ending. So let's do that, and I think this framing looks amazing. First of all, we have these beautiful reflections. We have nice symmetry going on. I'm gonna set and lock the focus over here. We're gonna start recording. So now that we have all of our shots, let's put them together to create the final edit. And I'm also going to include the behind the scenes so that you can see how I created each shot. Alright folks, there you have it. Hopefully you got a good understanding of how to make your iPhone videos stand out by using simple yet effective filmmaking techniques. Now if you want to learn more, be sure to check out my mini course iPhone Camera 101, where I teach you the best settings on using the default camera app and how to unlock its full potential to create amazing videos. I will leave a link below, and if you're interested in the colors I've used, they are from my premium mobile LUTs, where you can apply a different color presets to your mobile videos to make them pop. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. It's been a long day, but I'm happy I created this video, and also happy that you're part of it. Hopefully you got to learn something. Thank you for watching. Take care, stay creative, and see you the next time.